Hey, I'm Susie, and today we're talking about feeling lonely while being in a relationship. Enjoy?
You were lying next to them last night, close enough to feel their warmth, and you almost said something real. Something like, I miss you, even though they were right there. But you didn't say it. Because how do you tell someone you miss them when they're 6 inches away? So you turned over, opened your phone, and scrolled until you fell asleep. And they had no idea. You eat dinner together, and the conversation doesn't go past, how was your day? Fine. You sleep in the same bed, but you can't remember the last time you actually talked before falling asleep. You're in a relationship. You're not alone. And somehow you have never felt lonelier. The worst part? You can't even explain this to anyone. Because from the outside, your relationship looks fine. You live together. You're not fighting. There's no affair, no betrayal, no dramatic problem to point at. Just a quiet, growing distance that's somehow harder to fix than any fight you've ever had. Because at least a fight means someone still cares enough to raise their voice. This video is about how two people who chose each other end up feeling more invisible than they ever did when they were single, and what's actually happening underneath the silence that neither of you is talking about. You probably tell yourself this is normal, that every long-term relationship settles into something quieter, that the spark just fades, and you learn to live with the warmth that's left. But there's a difference between a relationship that's settled and a relationship where someone is silently drowning. And if you're watching this, you already know which one you're in. Here's what makes this so brutal. You can remember when it was different. You remember the version of this person who used to light up when you walked into the room, who would stay up too late talking to you about nothing, who wanted to know every stupid detail of your day, not because it was interesting, but because it was yours. And now you walk into the room and they don't look up. You start telling them something, and halfway through, you realize the words aren't landing because somewhere along the way, the attention that used to be automatic became something neither of you remembers to give. And that slow fade of attention. That's the thing that cuts deepest. The quiet realization that you're both right there and somehow still missing each other. What I'm going to tell you in a few minutes might be the most uncomfortable part of this video. There's something that happens between two people dozens of times a day, a tiny invisible moment that most couples completely ignore. And research shows it's the single most accurate predictor of whether a relationship survives or quietly dies. When you hear what it is, you're going to recognize it instantly. But first, you need to understand what this kind of loneliness actually does to you, because it's not just emotional. Here's something that might genuinely scare you, and it should. Being lonely inside a relationship is more damaging to your health than being lonely and single. Neuroscientist Dr. John Cacioppo at the University of Chicago spent over 20 years studying what loneliness does to the human body. And his team found that people who reported feeling lonely within their partnership had higher rates of depression, higher blood pressure, and weaker immune systems. Not just compared to happy couples, but compared to people who were completely alone. When you're single and lonely, your brain treats it as a problem to solve. You can go out, meet people, change your situation. There's hope built into the loneliness. But when you're lying next to someone who's supposed to be your person, and you still feel invisible, your brain doesn't file that as a problem to solve. It files it as the truth. This is what love looks like. This is all I'm worth. That belief creates a stress response that never fully shuts off. Your body stays in a low-grade state of alert because the one place it's supposed to feel safe doesn't feel safe anymore. Because being unseen by someone who chose you is one of the deepest wounds a nervous system can register. You might not cry about it, but your body registers it. And over time, that invisible weight adds up more than most people realize. Here's what I mentioned earlier. Once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. Picture this. It's a Saturday morning. You're making coffee. Your partner walks into the kitchen and says something small, and maybe about a dream they had, or something they noticed on the way to the bathroom, or just a random thought. Nothing important. Just a small, quiet reach in your direction. What happens next is the moment that decides the future of your relationship. If you look up, even for a second, if you smile or respond, or just make eye contact that says, I'm here, something invisible strengthens between you. A thread you can't see, but both of you can feel. If you stay focused on the coffee, give a half nod, let the moment pass, that thread weakens. Just enough that neither of you notices. Researcher Dr. John Gottman spent decades filming couples in these exact moments, the ones that last 2 or 3 seconds and seem completely meaningless. He called them bids for connection, and he found that the entire trajectory of a relationship comes down to how often these bids get answered. Couples still together and happy after 6 years, they caught each other's bids 86% of the time. Couples who split up, 33%. Not because of the big moments, because of the Saturday morning comment about a dream that nobody remembered by noon. Because of 100 moments a day where one person quietly said, I'm here, are you? And the other person either answered or didn't. You're not missing these bids on purpose. You're missing them because you're tired, distracted, holding your phone, or just so used to their presence that you've stopped treating it as something that needs tending. But your partner's heart doesn't know the difference between ignored on purpose and ignored by habit. It just knows it reached out and nothing came back. So if both of you can feel the distance, and I promise you, both of you can, why doesn't anyone say anything? Because this is the one relationship problem that feels impossible to raise without making it worse. I feel lonely, said to the person sharing your bed. Sounds like an accusation even when it isn't one. It sounds like you're not enough, like you've failed. And no one wants to be the person who says that to someone they love. So you fill the silence with other things instead: logistics, plans, decisions about the kids, the house, the schedule. You run the relationship like two people managing a project. It looks like a strong partnership from the outside. Somewhere between the school pickups and the grocery lists, the part of you that used to say, I need you, went quiet because it stopped feeling safe to say it out loud. Dr. Sue Johnson, who developed emotionally focused therapy, asks every couple that walks into her office one question: can you turn to your partner and say, I need you, and trust that they'll respond? For most couples stuck in this dynamic, the answer isn't no because the love is gone. It's no because the habit of reaching for each other was broken so gradually that neither person noticed. In most couples who live like this, both people are feeling the exact same loneliness. Both staying silent because both are convinced they're the only one who feels it. Two people terrified of the same thing, reaching out and not being caught. The love is still there. Neither person knows how to reach it anymore. Most couples who feel this way think the fix needs to be big: a vacation, a deep talk, a dramatic reset that finally addresses everything. Those things can help. But repair doesn't start there. It starts in the moments you've been sleepwalking through. The distance happened in 1,000 tiny failures of attention, not one dramatic one. And repair works the same way, not in a grand gesture, but in the next small moment you choose differently. The next time they say something, anything, put the phone down. Look at them, not because what they said matters, because they do. The next time you're both in the same room doing nothing, say something, not something deep, just something that says, I know you're here and I'm glad. It's a start. For two people who've been quietly disappearing from each other, a start is a lot. The relationship you're in might not be broken. It might just be starving. Two people who are both hungry tend to blame each other for the empty table, when neither one remembered to cook. You haven't failed. Neither has your partner. You've both been so busy surviving the logistics of sharing a life together that you forgot to actually live it together. The loneliness that crept in isn't proof you chose wrong. It's proof that what you have needs something it hasn't been getting. What it needs isn't dramatic, just attention. Real, undivided, phone-down attention. The kind you used to give each other when you were new and everything they said felt like something you didn't want to miss. They're still saying those things. You've just stopped hearing them, and they've stopped expecting you to. So tonight, before the scrolling starts, try something. Turn to them. Say something honest. Even if it's just, I miss us. 2 words. They might be the most important thing either of you has said in months. If you felt this in your chest, subscribe. We break down the psychology behind relationships every week. And if you're going to send this to your partner, don't just send the link. Sit next to them while they watch it. That's already a bid.